was in Mr. Beathard's belongings.
Photograph T.
Again, going into the same series, more of a mid-range of a defect to the shirt.
Okay. And does that appear to be on his left side?
It does, yes.
Okay. Photograph U.
Again, a close-up of the defect.
Photograph V.
Overall of the same shirt, just with a scale in place.
Photograph W.
A mid-range photograph of the same defect with scale.
Photograph X.
Close-up of the defect with scale.
Photograph Y.
Just the back of that same shirt.
Photograph Z.
Khaki pants that were in Mr. Beathard's personal property.
Photograph AA.
The back of those same pants.
Photograph BB.
Socks that were in Mr. Beathard's personal belongings.
Photograph CC.
Shoes that were in his belongings also.
Photograph DD.
This was Mr. Beathard's wallet and ID.
Photograph EE.
Cell phone that was with Mr. Beathard's belongings.
Photograph FF.
Necklace, cross necklace on a chain that was with his belongings.
Photograph GG.
Wristbands, very wristbands that were with his belongings.
Photograph HH.
Just a different angle of the same wristbands.
Photograph II.
Again, Mr. Beathard's property once bagged.
Okay, and again, did you go through the same process of sealing that and placing it into the property room?
I did, yes ma'am.
And you placed it in there in a sealed condition?
Yes ma'am.
Did you have any other involvement in this case?
I did not.
Can you tell the jury whether or not there were any weapons found in the belongings of Mr. Beathard?
There were none.
Can you tell the jury whether or not there were any weapons found in the belongings of Mr. Trapini?
There were none.
And can you tell the jury whether or not you found any weapon on the crime scene?
I did not.
Those are my questions, Your Honor.
Okay, I think it is 12:15, we'll break for lunch, and Mr. Well, you can
That'll be fine, Your Honor.
cross-examination of Dr. Terry after lunch. Will you come back after lunch?
Yes ma'am.
The photos, okay, we got those. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take a break so that you can have lunch. Again, my same instructions apply. Don't talk about the case among yourselves or with anyone else. No outside research. If you have your phones, don't look at anything that may be posted by the media. Okay? All right, thank you.
All right.
Okay. Officer Terry, you may step down and we'll break for lunch. You may be seated. I do want to talk about Mr. Close. I guess in anticipation of his objection that he's going to file, so that because I'm assuming that we'll have to take that matter up with your next witness, and I'd rather, when we come back, to just go straight into the proof and not have to break again. So the way I understand it, Mr. Quillen, you're objecting to Detective Beavis testifying or providing his narrative, I guess, of the
Well,
video.
if I may, let me just file the.
Okay. Have you filed a copy with the,
objection.
you got a copy with the state?
I have a copy, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, so Mr. Quillen, what is your objection?
The objection is to Detective Beavis or any other law enforcement officer who wasn't on the scene testifying or summarizing or characterizing the action within that video. And of course, I wouldn't object if somebody was actually there, like Emma Yoder. What does something show? Well, she's there. But as far as what the video shows, that's really for the jury to determine. And the evidentiary rule is 1004, commonly known as the best evidence rule.
Okay, all right. Anything further, Mr. Quillen?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. General Norman?
Your Honor, the state would not, I mean, the video is the best evidence role, but the state would be offering Detective Beavis' testimony as a lay opinion, and he is allowed to testify and explain what he sees and what it appears to be. This issue was specifically addressed in State v. Banks, which that's Brandon Banks, which was.
Banks?
Yes. State v. Brandon Banks, which was a Division 5 case. It's 2019 WL 4917164.
4917164.
Yes, Your Honor. In that case, Detective Gish testified to several videos and images, and the defense made an objection that it was a narration, but it was allowed because it is a lay opinion and it would assist the jury. But it's the exact same issue that we would have here.
Okay, then Mr. Quillen, you have a response?
Well, my response to that was I don't see how a lay opinion would assist the jury since the jury's lay. I mean, if somebody's an expert, then they're an expert.
Okay.
But, if to interpret a video, you might have to watch it multiple times, and the jury's quite capable of doing that.
And Your Honor, Detective Beavis' testimony will be that he watched this same video probably 100 times, so he is extremely familiar.
Well, and then I guess the other thing, and I'll go back and read Banks during lunch, but I would imagine that the other point would be that Detective Beavis, is he the lead detective on the case?
Yes, Your Honor.
As the lead detective on the case, he has to, I guess, as part of his investigation, has to review evidence in order for him to determine what his next steps are in the investigation, right?
Well, that part is true, Your Honor.
Okay. And that would include being able to watch the video and him, based upon what he observes in the video, to determine the next steps, right?
Well, I mean, his commentary, at least in his summary, is he may comment, okay, at 240, and I'm just drawing this number,
Sure.
247:08, Michael Mosely had a chance to retreat and withdraw and something like
That's
that.
a legal conclusion. I don't know that, I mean, he wouldn't testify on legal conclusions,
Well,
right?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
His reports-
I think that's different. I mean, I think that him drawing a legal conclusion is objectionable. In other words, an individual had an opportunity to retreat and didn't. That is a legal conclusion. I think it's different than here, a witness, draws back his right hand with a fist. That's, narrating what this witness is testifying to that the individual did. That's different. Right. Well, I think Mr. Pullen is not agreeing with me.
I think we can go forward from here, and if I need to flesh out the
Okay.
objection, I
All right,
will.
I'll read Banks
Quietly
lunch break,
and,
then we need to stop this when we get a chance. Okay. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
I would also point out that after Detective Beavis testifies, obviously he is subject to cross-examination.
That is true.
To whatever Mr. Quillen
That
has
is
asked.
very true. I mean, that's very true. If he testifies, for an example, that an individual in the video drew back his right arm with a fist, you can cross-examine him and say, well, are you sure his hand was balled in a fist? Was it not? You can cross-examine him on those points, I guess is the point, right?
Well, I mean, in contrast to Ms. Yoder, who was there on the scene, and I would just object to any characterization. I mean, I'm not objecting to an identification. If they draw a circle around somebody and say that's so and so, or an arrow to the top of somebody's head, that's merely an identification, which he's entitled to do because he's interviewed those folks and compared it with driver's license photos and stuff. So,
Okay.
you know, I'll maintain the objection.
All right, we'll talk about it after lunch. Since they have one chair, I can't imagine it's gonna be long, 40 minutes enough, 45 minutes enough for y'all, if we can.
If we can have 45 minutes, I wanna make sure we solve any technical issues with the video.
Okay, 45 minutes. All right.
All rise. We're saying 45-minute recess. He takes me.
Okay, but I'm gonna have to, we're gonna have to add in, set up the new, do a VCR. VCR